This is About That Business, hosted by Rom Wills, author, speaker, and entrepreneur. Sit back and enjoy.
Greetings, fam. My thoughts on the Universal Basic Income Part 2. Now, even though there are a lot of people who've, they against the whole concept. I mean, because it sounds like a welfare thing and people feel like, we have this work ethic in this country, this Protestant work ethic. It's like you're viable because, how much you work. The reality is there's a lot of people, and not just but billionaires or so-called authorities who afford. There are a lot of just regular people who've heard of it. They like, yeah, bring it on. We can't wait. And it's not a bunch of slackers or anything like that. Yeah, you get some people, they just don't want to work. And, they'd rather just spend their time doing some leisure stuff. Well, you're going to get that anyway. But plus a universal basic income, I'm quite sure people ain't going to be able to run out and buy mansions and stuff. Whatever they do, they just giving people just enough. Because people, even with a universal basic income, they're not stopping people from creating businesses. In fact, they probably want it. And because of that thing, people can still get a job and everything. They're just saying, look, we're going to guarantee you this minimum. And plus, on a basic level, there's going to be, if they giving you just a minimum, people still greedy. People are still going to want a bigger house. They're going to want a bigger car. They're going to want some things that maybe they can't cover just with universal basic income. So people still going to work. But, I'm thinking about two groups of people who would really probably encourage universal basic income. One group, entrepreneurs. I'm going to tell you what, one of the biggest problems that an entrepreneur faces is time. It's not having money or being able to get a loan or anything like that. It's time to really work on their business and to develop it. That's the thing. Now, if you want it, like getting into the deeper science of money, the thing that rich people have and millionaires have is time. Their time is valuable. That's why if you go in any business magazine, anything talking about money, some of the main ads are for watches. Because that's the valuable thing that rich people like. Now, if you're an entrepreneur, you need time. A lot of times you don't have that time to really work on something. Now, like you have to still work that 9-to-5 job. And then you got to come back and do something with the business. And then if you have a mate, you got to give them some time. You got to give the children some time. And it's tough. It's tough. One thing, an entrepreneur, if you give, I'll use myself. I'll use myself. When when my publishing business really started taking off around 2000. But I had been in business before that. But it didn't, I wasn't making just pennies, literally. I was just making some change. What I made at first was just enough to cover expenses. And maybe have enough left over for a cheeseburger or something. But it was time. I had to work my jobs. At one point, I was working 2 jobs in a business. I had to work my jobs. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, what if I had more time? Or what if I had a universal basic income? What if I had something I knew was coming in every month? One, that would give me time to focus just on the business. And two, even with a little bit of profits I made from the business, I could reinvest in the business or something like that. See, one thing, even when the business took off to the point I didn't have to work, still had to put profits into stuff like mortgages, car notes, insurance. You still had to do all that. Now, say, what if that was covered on a basic level? It's like, all of a sudden, I got money for more product. I could expand. I could work on more things. So a lot of entrepreneurs, they might be quiet about it, but they might think, oh, wait a minute. If I got this, I got like a little base that takes care of stuff. I can focus on business. Then I can still make more money. Think about it. Or some cases it could be used as capital. If people really think about how they save it and everything, right? And then, using my example again, I'm a writer, a fiction writer, an artist. There are many artists who they looking forward to this universal basic income. They embracing it. When I first thought about the artists, I did a search on it. And I was like, wow, a lot of stuff popped up. I was like, wow, some artists, they've been jumping on this. Because when we talk about artists, right, we're talking musicians, we're talking writers, we're talking painters, anything. We're talking artisans, people who make sculptures, people who make furniture, clothing designers. Those are artists. For example, I know this dude now, right? This dude is a gifted dressmaker, a very gifted dressmaker, but he still has to work a retail job to help ends meet because he makes high-end dresses. So he's not getting it's not like he's going to sell something every day. I mean, he especially makes dresses, and somebody's going to pay several $1,000s for the dress. But he can't focus as much on doing that because, he still got to work. Now, somebody like him, he probably welcome the universal basic income because then he can focus on his craft. And that's why many artists, they getting into it. Now, I talked about the entrepreneurs. I talked about the artists. Think about something with artists. Like, say, a musician. They can actually create jobs. Remember, I've been the one always talking about let's create new industries. Many industries are created around art. Some type of art, whether it's musicians. Like you say, you take some musicians, right? You can take it something as simple as a garage band or, one, they need venues. They need venues to do their thing in. If they want to do recordings and stuff, they need a recording studio. I actually know a brother who has a recording studio. That's creating business, creating jobs. Here we go. This art creates jobs. Music creates jobs. So if you look at hip hop has created millions of jobs, and created revenue in the billions, probably trillions, if somebody really looked at it, because it covers so many areas: music, clothing, everything. Or you get some type of clothing designer, that's an artist. If they have a great design, that creates businesses because, somebody got to make them, somebody got to sell them. Even with automation, you can automate the making of those, but you still can hire models. You still got to have people to maintain those automations. I mean, every art can create some. A writer creates a lot of jobs, even with automation, because they can automate the print process now. But can they automate a bookseller, an actual bookseller, somebody who has knowledge of the books? Or can they automate, the marketing of those books? They probably try, but that's creating businesses, And even though people self-publishing now, like to a great extent, you still need literary agents who want to go with bigger companies, bigger paydays. And basically, you creating a lot. So the one thing, the universal basic income, by freeing up the artists, the creative people, you freeing up the people who could possibly reinvigorate the economy, the industries. In fact, I've read stuff over the years. There's been many municipalities who would purposely create artist districts because of the jobs it would create. So you freeing them up to do their thing. Because think about it, you got artists across the country just in different areas, and they actually able to do their stuff without worrying about it. And it's something I've actually thought about. There was a friend of my family who she's transitioned. She transitioned a while ago, but she had a nice house that sat on a big piece of property, and she wanted to convert it to an artist colony. Just have it, because a lot of times that's what they need. But here's the thing: you don't need all of them to really succeed or create something. But if you get a few, think about how many jobs are created. That could create the industries, because everybody in that industry doesn't have to be an artist. You know, you still need real estate. You get some people, they form their own artist galleries and stuff. Got their art in there, and you still need real estate for that. And that's more of a people thing. Like in the arts, it's more of a people thing. Even though they have some AI that created some type of symphony and stuff, people still like that human thing. People, you need stuff for actors. You can create, people still want to see stories. People could really pursue their craft and really give you some great stuff. Or filmmakers. Imagine if you got some small-time filmmaker who say, hey, I can make a great film, get it, make some money. Because every time somebody makes money, they put money into the economy. So that's something to think about. That's something to see. That's why I started leaning towards. But like I said, I'm not quite there yet, because I need to research the other stuff. I don't adopt anything till I research all angles. I don't just follow the crowd and say, oh yeah, that's a good thing. Because my thing really still is, okay, how do we pay for this? That's my main thing right now. And is it going to hit my pocket? So I'm like, all right, before I start saying, oh yeah, I'm going to wave the flag. But the bottom line in all that, it's coming. And for the main reasons I said in part one. Shit. The business owners, they still want people to buy their stuff. And the politicians, the intelligence agencies, if they smart, because intelligence agencies really look at economics. Trust me on that. They really look at economics, because if you look at a bad economy, creates the conditions for a revolution. So they have to pay attention to it. And it's probably cheaper just to give people a little bit of money just to keep them calm. Next step is to legalize a lot of drugs, but like I said, that goes into some political stuff. And you know what? I might even start doing more political stuff on this channel, because economics and politics are actually connected. Because as this wise man told me, if you want to know what's going on in the world politically, read the financial pages. So anyway, right? That's it for today. Regardless of whether universal basic income is adopted, which I think it is going to come whether we like it or not, or whatever is going on wherever you at, go get that money. Peace.